Father, thank you so much for this gathered group of people, how unique and special they are. I thank you that they are a gift to me in my life and a blessing. And we ask that you come. We're here for you today. We ask that you come and you speak and you do the work that you want to do in our hearts. We yield our hearts to you and we open up, Father, for whatever you want to do. We love you and we thank you. In Jesus' name. Amen. When my son was young, he was like in elementary school, he was the little kid. You know, he didn't grow as fast as everybody else. He was kind of smaller. And his personality is kind of laid back. He's kind of the quiet kid. Now that made it easy to parent him in a lot of ways, but it also made him a target for the bullies. You know, they knew they could get away with it. So, and then there was never like a huge incident that brought the whole thing to a head. It was this slow building over years. It was just like this constant undercurrent in his life. And we had talked about how to spiritually stand against it, how to emotionally stand against it, how to verbally stand against it and defend himself. But then in 5th grade, it came to a head. So they're sitting in class in fifth grade, and there's a posse of 3 bullies, and 2 of them are in his class, and the teacher leaves the class, and sure enough, they start in. And they start in on one of their other favorite targets. Another guy is a friend of Ben's. And it's been years. We're tired of it. We're weary. We're done with this. So they start in on this guy, and Ben, the quiet little kid out of the blue in class, just says, "Shut up. Stop it. We are sick of you. We're just sick of it. Just shut up." Well, it did arrest the bully for a moment, and he just kind of looked at him, but it didn't end. So unbeknownst to him, they got the rest of their posse, and after school they waited for Ben in the stairwell and they were going to beat him up. So Ben goes to his locker to get everything, and the problem with bullies is they can't, they're smart, they're cunning, but they're loud. And so everybody coming down the stairwell knew what was going to happen. They were talking it up. So Ben's best friend, Garrett, went around to the back stairwell, went up, got Ben, and they snuck out and averted the danger. He got home and told us about it, and we realized, okay, we've hit another milestone here. This is not just spiritual, emotional, or verbal, now it's physical. And we have to prepare him to defend himself. So Dave called one of his friends who's really good at fighting. I mean, he's a godly man. He doesn't pull it out, but you do not mess with him. And so he's like, okay, you got to teach your kid how to fight. What do you do? So that night, up in Ben's room, we had fight class. So Dave is teaching him things like this. I'm sitting on the bed watching. I'm privileged to even be there, okay? This is father-son time. But no, I have lived it for a long time. I'm in the room. And so Dave's doing things like, you never put your do not punch like this. Do not put your thumb in the do not do that. But you can do this, but the best way is this heel of your hand, like this. This is how you try it on my arm, and it's like this. And all of the years of frustration, the years of fear that is welling up inside of me. And Ben's like, well, when do I do that? How do I? He goes, okay, Ben, let's start from the beginning. They come at you verbally. You can tell they're aggressive. You give them a verbal out. We're not doing this. It's foolish. We're not going to do this. We're not going to fight. Okay, so you give them the verbal out. And he goes, they're not going to believe that. And Dave goes, I know. I know. But you got to give it to him. Okay. Then he goes, then, if they come at you physically, you just stop them. You know, you're not going to attack, but you do stop them. And what you do, you just take the butts of your hands and you hit them on the shoulder like that. And you say, back off. But you got to make it count. He goes, try it. And Ben's up there, and Dave's like this tall to him, and he's like, back off. And I'm over there just like, no, that's not going to work. It's just boiling up in me. I'm not saying anything. They're just like, oh, all the emotion. So Dave goes, okay. You know, try it again, a little more force. Ben does it again. Back off. He gives him a third time. After that third time, something happened in me.
You jumped out of bed.
Hello. It was years, people. It was boiling up, and I got up and I said, no, that will not do it. You have one chance. You have one chance to back him down. That will not do it. Look, Ben, look. I'm going to show you how to do it. And Dave goes, yeah, this is good. I'm going to brace myself. You show him how to do it. I'm like, this is good. You watch. And all in one ball of fierce emotion, Mama Bear rose up. And I came at Dave and back and tore. And it was awesome. I felt so good. Like all that steam that was in me, I was like, woo! I got it out. And I'm like looking over at Ben and his eyes. And he's not saying a word. And I look at Dave and his eyes are this big. Sorry. And then Dave starts laughing and we start laughing. And I look at Ben and he's not laughing. And he's got this look on his face like, who is my mother? Have you ever had those times? Have you ever had those times when it doesn't matter what the right thing to do is? The emotion in you is so intense. It could be sadness, it could be fear, it could be anger, whatever the emotion is, it is welling up in you and then it takes over. And you are acting out of emotion rather than out of anything else in the world. Conventional common wisdom, your head, what you know is best. It is the emotion that is taking over. To a lesser degree, I think that we operate out of emotion quite a lot. This is the situation we are entering into. We have been studying. Mike and Gina have done an amazing job. I've been watching them on our Facebook page. In case you didn't know, we tape our Facebook pages. You may watch their lessons. You may not watch mine. Because I look at it and I listen to my voice and I think, oh, and I turn it off. But their lessons are awesome. And we've been studying the life of Saul. Saul, the first king of Israel. Saul, the king who God has rejected. And now the next king is being risen up, and he's little guy David. And we have watched him slay Goliath, and we have seen Saul get intensely jealous about it. We catch David now. We're in 1 Samuel chapter 25, if you want to turn there. We catch David now after a period of time of being pursued by Saul, who wants to kill him, being lied about by Saul, being harassed and made tired. He's pressured. He's surviving. He's worn out. He's had it. He's done. And all the while, in this time period, he's been trying to do what's right. He has told the lie. He has saved Saul's life. He has resisted killing him. He has saved some towns in Israel, only to find that Saul comes in, not caring about the town, but caring to pursue him. He is ragged. And we're going to look today at a situation that blows him up and how he reacts emotionally and who saves the day. Let me tell you, it's a woman who saves the day. It's a woman who saves the day. All that we're going to talk about today, the principles that we're going to look at, apply to everyone. But ladies, I think this is a word to us. So I'm going to address you ladies. Guys, I'm so glad you're here. And it will apply. But this is a word to us today. And that's why I'm not using PowerPoint. I think it's just time to talk. It's time to talk like ladies, okay? So, we have our scene. David has escaped Saul and he's gone to the wilderness of Paran. There he has met some shepherds, and he and his 600 men decide to protect them. This area is outside of the border of Israel. It's on the outside the southern border of Israel. And the Philistines and the Amalekites and these bandits are marauding, and they will kill, and they will terrorize, and they will steal flocks. So all of the wealth of the owner of this flock is being protected by David, and they don't lose a one. They don't lose one sheep. And the shepherds sleep well, and they have granted peace. David then finds out, when he's in the area of Carmel, that the owner of those sheep, the wealth of the man that he has protected, lives there and it's shearing time. When you brought the sheep back in and you sheared them, you had a festive day. And it was a huge feast, and it was a huge celebration, and they, had everything to eat for all the shearers and all the owner. So this is what David and his men come close to and they walk into. Let's see this scene starting in chapter 25, verse 2. Now there was a man in Maon whose business was in Carmel, and the man was very rich, and he had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats. And it came about that while he was shearing his sheep in Carmel, parentheses, verse 3. Now the man's name was Nabal, and his wife's name was Abigail. And the woman was intelligent and beautiful in appearance. But the man was harsh and evil in his dealings, and he was a Calebite. The owner of these sheep is Nabal. And he's harsh, and he's evil, and the Bible doesn't mince any words about him. He is later called a worthless man, and this word worthless indicates someone who will do whatever it takes to justify and gain what he wants. He doesn't care about the means as long as it justifies the end. In a likely scenario, this is how he got rich. And it's working for him. So he keeps it up. His wife, however, is intelligent and beautiful. This word intelligent here is it's a patch-in kind of word in English, because the Hebrew word is tob, T-O-W-B, and it means good. It is the word that God stamps on what is good. When God was creating the earth and he said it is good, he said it is tob. When he created the animals and the heavens and every day, and he said it is good, it is tob. In Proverbs, when Solomon is going over, this is a good thing to do in wisdom, and this is a bad thing to do, he uses the word tob. It's God's stamped word on good, and this woman was good. And her goodness came out in a very personal way to her. Discernment and intelligence. It's wisdom that is floating around this woman, and she is good. The first thing I want us to learn about Abigail is that she became an exceptional woman despite the negative influences in her life. Every day, Abigail woke up with a man who was harsh and who was evil, and it was hard. Every day, she had to think through what she needed to do to keep the peace in her house, and it was hard. But she did not let the relationships in her life or the circumstances that she was in determine who she was, did she? She became an exceptional woman despite what was going on around her. I think the common thing, I think it's for me, the common temptation is to conform to my surroundings and to react to my surroundings. It may not be in your home. Look at the men you're married to. They're awesome. They're sitting here. They're at church with you. They're wonderful. But it may come up in other areas too in your lives. And for me, the temptation is to react. But Abigail became an exceptional woman despite what her surroundings dictated. That's the first thing I want us to know about Abigail. Through that general circumstance, God continued to shape her. And this is such a life principle. God will give us a general circumstance. It will last. It will be what we live in, and God is making us in it if we will let Him. Until a specific circumstance comes up, and He reveals then who we are. And that's what happens with Abigail. He's given her a general circumstance. With Nabal, her parents probably arranged the marriage. But she rose above and became an exceptional woman. It was revealed through a specific circumstance. Look at what happens. David hears Nabal is shearing. He says, I've protected his sheep. I'm going to ask for a little bit of food, just a little bit of sustenance. Look how he words it. We're going to start in verse 5. So David sent 10 young men, and David said to the young men, go up to Carmel, visit Nabal, and greet him in my name. Thus you shall say, have a long life, peace be to you, and peace be to your house, and peace be to all that you have. Now I have heard that you have shearers. Now your shepherds have been with us, and we have not insulted them, nor have they missed anything all the days that we were with them in Carmel. Ask your young men, and they will tell you. Therefore let my young men find favor in your eyes, for we have come to a festive day. Please give whatever you find at hand to your servants and to your son David. So you feel what he's speaking. First, he sends the young men in his name. And it's important that we know this because he sends them in authority. He didn't have to go himself. Everybody knows who David is. He's killed Goliath. The women of the country have made up a song that they sing about how valiant he is, how he's killed his 10,000. It has hit the top 10 chart. Okay? We're singing about it. He's become the blood covenant brother of the prince, Jonathan. And by this time, he has married Saul's daughter, Michal. He's in the royal family. He sends them in his name because everyone knows who David is. He offers a peace blessing. We have lost this in our culture, but it's more than a polite thing. It's a power thing. That God specifically taught Moses and Aaron in the wilderness how to peace bless other people. This brings a blessing. He has brought a blessing physically to guard the sheep. He's bringing this peace blessing. And then he asks just for whatever's on him. Listen to how Nabal responds. Verse 10. But Nabal answered David's servant and said, who is David? Who is the son of Jesse? There are many servants today who are each breaking away from his master. Shall I then take my bread and my water and my meat that I have slaughtered for my shearers and give it to men whose origin I do not know? All of that wealth, all that blessing, whose is it? He thinks it's his. He thinks it's his. That's the operative word here, is mine. So Nabal reacts emotionally. It's greed that's driving him. So he has this emotional reaction. Who do you think you are? And he's all stirred up. His men go back and tell David. Look how David responds, verse 13. And David said to his men, each of you gird on his sword. So each man girded on his sword, and David also girded on his sword, and about 400 men went out behind David, while 200 stayed with the baggage. Oh, he had it. He was going to hit Nabal's shoulders and say, back off. It's a bring out your sword kind of day. And you know what that kind of day is. Now keep in mind here, Abigail has no idea what's going on. She was not there to see it. And so one of the servants, one of the shepherds, comes to her and explains the situation. And in an instant, Abigail is stuck in a situation between her husband, who's reacting emotionally, and David, who's reacting emotionally and has 400 swords behind him. We know this feeling somewhat, don't we? This is when we come home, ladies, from the grocery store and the kids are fighting. And you walk in and it's all okay. You thought it was, and then boom, electric. And they're looking at you saying, make it right. This is when you are at home, your husband comes home from work, and it has been a bad day, and that oven has been boiling up, has exploded, and he's looking at you. We get this feeling, don't we? It's when your mom calls and starts talking about your sibling, right? And all you did was pick up the phone. I wish you hadn't. I wish you hadn't. Thank you. We know this feeling. She's thrust into it. What does she do? I learned a lot from Abigail this week. I learned a lot from her. Verse 18. Then Abigail. Stop right there. Of all of the options Abigail had in that situation, she's one woman. 401 men are coming with swords. Her husband's a jerk. Think of all the options she had. Then Abigail sat down and cried because it was overwhelming. No. Then Abigail walked out in a huff and said, let Nabal handle his own mess. I'm tired of it. No. Then Abigail thought about who was coming and went and got the key to the gun cabinet. No. Then Abigail felt sorry for herself. So he did it again. God, why'd you give me this husband? Then Abigail got on her computer and posted on Facebook. I sure wish certain people would just mind their own business. Then Abigail got angry and agreed with the shepherd. Yes, he is a jerk. He's a worthless man. Abigail had so many choices in the midst of an emotional turmoil storm. And look at what she did. Verse 18, then Abigail hurried and took 200 loaves of bread and 2 jugs of wine and 5 sheep already prepared and 5 measures of roasted grain and 100 clusters of raisins and 200 cakes of figs and loaded them on the donkeys. This is the second thing I want us to understand about Abigail. She did not let emotion dictate who she was. She let wisdom dictate. Now let's not be confused here. Emotions are important. God gave us emotions. And there's a time to go there, and there's a time to deal with it. There's a time to be angry, and a time to cry, and a time to let it go. But Abigail had this amazing ability to discern when that time was and when it wasn't. We cannot even assume that she did not have emotion here, or strong emotion. She just knew what place to put it in and where to go. Emotion is a gift from God, but it colors our ability to see clearly, doesn't it? And Satan would like nothing more than to twist our emotion and make it bigger than it should be. Stoke those fires and have us run and act and speak out of our emotion, ladies, rather than choosing wisdom first and saving that emotion for the time it needs to be processed. I love this quote by Lisa Turkhurst. I've taken some of this lesson from her. Satan would love to twist our emotions to the point that we are not affected in situations where clarity is really needed. It's clarity. So Abigail goes with her wisdom, leaving her emotions to be handled in the moment. She goes and gets on that donkey and she meets David. She meets David and his 400 men. Look how she communicates here. It is awesome and it is effective. We're going to start in verse 23. Then Abigail saw David. She hurried and dismounted from her donkey and fell on her face before David and bowed herself to the ground. She fell at his feet and said, "On me alone, my Lord, be the blame. And please let your maidservant speak to you and listen to the words of your maidservant." The third thing I want us to know about Abigail is that she knew in communication that manner matters. Not manners, but the manner in which you speak. Abigail was screaming a message long before she opened her mouth, and it was her whole demeanor. She got off that donkey and she bowed. And that nonverbal communication opened David's heart to hear whatever came out of her mouth. Can you imagine if she went strong and got off that donkey and got that finger out? Can you imagine if she let it all blurt out of her mouth first, what would have happened? Not pretty. Not pretty. She knew that in communication her manner mattered. We know what it feels like, don't we? Have you ever been sitting at lunch with your friend and you're really wanting to talk to her about something, ladies? You know, you've got something on your mind, and she's looking over at the people around in the restaurant. Oh, yeah. Have you ever talked to your child about something they need to correct, something that they need to hear, something probably that they have done that they need to apologize for? And they look at you and go, "Sorry." And they roll the eyes. I know your kids don't roll their eyes. Did you get that? Ladies, have you ever been talking to your husband who's had a hard day, good man, but you gotta get it out, you gotta let it out, and he's looking at that Twitter feed? You know how it feels, don't you? It's the manner. Now let's reverse it. When have we done it to him? When have we done it to them? It happens. The communication manner matters. And what she screamed by bowing before him opened his heart to hear. It's a good thing to remember, isn't it? It's a good thing to remember. So when he gets home and we're cooking dinner and we got to get it on time, it's really time to put it down and watch and look and say, "Yes, I hear." And I'm seeing people talk to one another in here. So no elbows. None of that.
It's just about Nikki doesn't cook.
Good for you, Nikki. I'm impressed at how you worked that out. Okay, let's finish up with Abigail. So Abigail's manner speaks first, and then her words speak. I'm going to read to you her words. as I read this, I'm going to fast, and most of you, I hope, have your Bibles open. She says, my Lord and the Lord, a lot in this. It gets a little chewy. When she's saying my Lord, she's talking to David, a little L. It's a respect. When she says the Lord, it's the big L. So I think that'll help us as we read this. Get the whole message first. We're going to pick it apart a little bit. Verse 26. Now therefore, my Lord, as the Lord lives, and as your soul lives, since the Lord has restrained you from shedding blood and from avenging yourself by your own hand, now then let your enemies and those who seek evil against my Lord be as Nabal. Now let this gift which your maidservant has brought to my Lord be given to the young men who accompany my Lord. Please forgive the transgression of your maidservant, for the Lord will certainly make for my Lord an enduring house. Because my Lord is fighting the battles of the Lord, and evil will not be found in you all of your days. Should anyone rise up to pursue you and to seek your life, then the life of my Lord shall be bound in the bundle of the living with the Lord your God. But the lives of your enemies he will sling out as from the hollow of a sling. Verse 30. And when the Lord does for my Lord, according to all the good that he has spoken concerning you, and appoints you ruler over Israel, this will not cause grief or a troubled heart to my Lord, both by having shed blood without cause, and my Lord having avenged himself, and by having avenged himself. When the Lord deals well with my Lord, then remember your maidservant. Okay, the words that come out of our mouth are strong, are clear, and are respectful. I want to look at just 3 things that are a part of what she says to him that really hit me and remind me of how purposeful I should be when I'm speaking. First, she reminds David of who he really is. He's lost track of that. It's been a long, heavy season in his life, and he has lost track of who he is. Look how she reminds him. Look at verse 28. Please forgive the transgression of your maidservant, for the Lord will certainly make for my Lord an enduring house, because my Lord is fighting the battles of the Lord, and evil will not be found in you all your days. She looks at David. She doesn't speak to his head. She speaks to his heart, and she says to him, you are a man of God. You're not fighting the battles for yourself. You're not fighting the battles for Israel. You are fighting the battles of the Lord. You are a warrior for the King, for the ultimate King of Kings. By doing that, she reaches in and pulls David out of a pit of emotion that we certainly understand. I do not condemn him in the least. But she speaks to who he is. You are a man of God. And you are about fighting the battles of the Lord. It's a way bigger thing than a couple of raisin cakes that Nabal will. It's a way bigger thing than the respect you deserve that Nabal will give you. Another thing she says to him, she reminds him of how powerful the Lord is and how able he is to defend those he loves. This is verse 29. Should anyone rise up to pursue you and seek your life, then the life of my Lord shall be bound in the bundle of the living with the Lord your God, but the lives of your enemies he will sling out as from a hollow of a sling. What is that a reference to? It's the lion. She's reminding him of how faithful God has been already. You're a little kid. God took a little rock and he slung it out of the hollow of your sling, and he took down the giant. And he will take down the giants in your life. Do not sin by shedding blood in this situation. God is able to take care of you. She reminds David of who he is. She reminds David of who God is and how powerful he is. And the third thing, in verse 30 and 31, when the Lord does for my Lord according to all the good he has spoken concerning you, and appoints you as ruler over Israel, this will not cause grief or a troubled heart to my Lord, both by having shed blood without cause and by my Lord having avenged himself. She reminds him of who God is making him to be. Baby, you're going to be the king. God is making you. And do not let this make you less effective than you could be. She is so for him. He sees it in her bow. He hears it in her voice. And he responds. You are God's man. You're not your own man. You are God's man. You are a man who God loves and protects. And look how big your God is. Do not let anything hinder who you are. Isn't that awesome? In the middle of an emotional storm, she hears from the Lord and she speaks it. Abigail is a woman who can speak. So what is the result? David's heart basically melts. Verse 32. Then David said to Abigail, "Blessed be the God of Israel who sent you this day to meet me. And blessed be your discernment, and blessed be you who have kept me this day from bloodshed and from avenging myself with my own hand." He received her gift. He said, "Go in peace." One woman turned the whole thing around. As I studied this, there was one word that stuck with me. We didn't go over it, but it was in verse 16. It's when the shepherd comes to Abigail to explain what all this happened. He's explaining to her how good David has been to them. And he says, "They were a wall to us, both by night and by day, all the time we were with them, tending the sheep." David is a wall. He was a wall. It's like a fortified city, and it was a protection. But after we've heard the whole story, who's the real wall? Abigail's the wall. Because God called her to do it, because she covenanted as a wife to do it beforehand, because it was good, because it was right. It's a privilege to be in this class with walls. Women who are walls in their families. You, me. Let's just not forget how important it is and how powerful it is to lay our emotion aside, to choose wisdom, to have the manner, to pay attention, to listen, and then to speak. And to be a wall for our families against any enemy that comes against us. Good stuff. Let's pray. Father, thank you so much that you have granted us this treasured place. I fall short of this, and you have dealt with me on it this week. I ask that you continue to, and I ask that you continue to deal with all of us. That the families represented in this room, that the marriages represented in this room are protected by a wall. A wall that is you, and a wall that we get to participate in being with you. Thank you for our husbands. I ask that you bless them. I ask that you increase them. I ask that you come over them in such a mighty way that they become princes, and they become kings, and they become leaders in this community and in this culture. We thank you, thank you, thank you. In Jesus' name.